Hello and welcome to this tutorial in which we're going to take a look at how we can customize and modify the sidebar section of a Drive Theme Builder template. So let's get straight into it. When you open a Drive Theme Builder template and you want to edit it, the Drive Theme Builder editor will open. In the left sidebar of the editor, you will see this main options section, which will let you choose the section that you want to edit or customize. In the case of the sidebar, of course, we're going to have to select the sidebar from here. So we can go ahead and click on the sidebar section, which will select the sidebar of our template and show all of its options in the left sidebar of the editor. So let's get right into the options. The first set of options we're going to have here is the layout and visibility options, and you can choose different layouts here. Now we do have a tutorial that explains this option in more details, so please check that out if you need help here. Next we have this section here. Now it is important to remember that once you customize a sidebar section, you can actually save it for later use. So if that's something that you want to do, all you have to do to save the sidebar is click on the Save and Reuse option here, which will open this pop-up from where you can name your sidebar section and save it to your library. Now once you do that, you can access another template and then go to this section again, click on Choose a Design, which will open another pop-up from where you will be able to see the pre-designed sidebar sections here. And then if you go to the My Saved Sidebar Sections section, this is where you will have the sidebars that you have previously saved. So if we go ahead and save this one right now, enter a name for it and click on Save to Library, then when you go back to the sidebar section here and click on Choose a Design, as you can see under the My Saved Sidebar Sections tab, we will have this sidebar section that we've just saved. So that is how you can save and reuse the sidebar in other templates as well. So once you save your sidebar section, and this works for other sections as well, and you start using it on your template, as you can see here, then two more options will appear here and you will have the Edit or Unlink section. If you want to edit the sidebar section, you can click on Edit, which will let you access all of the items inside your sidebar and of course use all of these options. But you should keep in mind that this will globally affect the sidebar section, which means that if you've used it in other templates as well, then the modifications will apply everywhere. However, if you've used the same sidebar section on multiple templates, but you only want to edit one of the sidebars, you can do so by clicking on Unlink here, which will unlink this particular sidebar and you can start bringing any modifications you want to it, and that will not affect the rest of the sidebars used in other templates. This is how you can use all of these options right here, and then you will have the next option, which is the visibility option. This will of course let you choose whether you want to have a sidebar section on this template or not. If you want to hide the sidebar from this particular template, you can simply disable the visibility option, which as you can see has taken the sidebar out of the template. If you ever want to show it again, all you have to do is click on this switch. Another way in which you can disable or enable the sidebar on the template is by going here in the section options and click on this eye icon here. So as you can see right now, we have a green eye, which means that the sidebar is visible, and if I click on it, then the sidebar will be hidden again. Of course, to continue this tutorial, I'm gonna show the sidebar. The next option is the section minimum height option, from where you can choose the minimum height of the sidebar section. To do so, all you have to do is drag this slider from side to side to get to the desired value, or simply enter it in this field right here. Next we have the vertical position option, from where you can choose how the sidebar area should be aligned vertically. So you can choose one of these three options, which will arrange the sidebar accordingly into the height of the section that you've chosen here. Then we have the position section, and of course you can choose to have a left sidebar or a right sidebar depending on your website and the aspect you want it to have. And then lastly, in this section you will have the section minimum width option, which of course will let you choose the minimum width for the sidebar. Just like in the case of the height, you can drag this slider to edit the width of the sidebar, or you can enter the desired value in this field. So these are the options under the section options. part of the left sidebar. And another set of options that I want to go through is the sidebar display options that can be found here. If you click on this section, you will notice some more options appear here. The first option will allow you to choose whether you want the sidebar to be a normal one or an off-screen one. An off-screen sidebar has the advantage that it can be expanded or collapsed by the users of your website. So if at any point of them visiting your website they want to get the sidebar out of their way, they can do so by either clicking on a button or another trigger of your choice. So by default we have normal set here, but if you want you can choose to have the off-screen sidebar. If you want to have it, then of course some more options will appear here right away. However, if you choose the normal one, the only option is to enable the sticky sidebar. I'm going to start with the normal sidebar, for which, as I just said, you will have the enable sticky sidebar option if you want. So if you activate this one, then the sidebar section can become sticky. If you want a sticky sidebar, then this is the option that you should activate. So when you do this, then even if someone scrolls down the page, the sidebar will not move. So I'm gonna save everything right now just to show you a preview of what this looks like. So as you can see on the template, I can scroll down, the sidebar will reach its end, and then I will still be able to scroll down a little bit until I reach the end of the page, but my sidebar will not move until that happens. So this is one example of a sticky sidebar. And when you opt for this type of sidebar, you can choose the distance from top or bottom, which represents the distance from the top or bottom sections, and you can modify this distance by dragging this slider or by entering the value in this field like so. Moreover, you can choose for the sidebar to be sticky until the end of the main container in which the sidebar is placed, the end of the page, or until it reaches another element. So you have the possibility to choose either of these options here. So this is how to create a sticky sidebar if you want. If you do not want a sticky sidebar, you can simply deactivate this option. Now, if you want to create an off-screen sidebar, of course, you will have to select this option right here, which, as I said, will give the users and visitors of your website the possibility to expand or collapse your sidebar whenever they wish. I'm going to quickly go through the options for an off-screen sidebar. So we're going to first of all have the default state, which will let you choose the state of the sidebar to be set as default when someone visits the website. So you can choose to have a collapsed or expanded sidebar. So of course, if you choose the collapsed sidebar, then the users or visitors will have to click on something for them to open the sidebar. And if you go for the expanded version, then the website would look similar to what you see here. So they will have the sidebar visible and then they will be able to collapse it if they wish. This next option refers to the way the sidebar looks like in our Thrive editor, so here. This can be helpful for when you're editing this section, as you can choose whether you want the sidebar to be expanded or not while doing the modifications here. Next we have the Show Sidebar section, from where you can choose whether the sidebar section should cover the content or push the content. Basically, if you want it to come over the content, then this is the example right here. So we have the text and post content written right here, and then the sidebar will come over it and cover part of the content. If you don't want that to happen, then you can go for the push content option, which, as you can see, will simply push the entire content on the other side so that everything will be visible even when the sidebar section is open. If you choose this option, then when someone collapses the sidebar so it will not be visible anymore, this is what will happen. So basically, when someone closes the sidebar, the content will be pushed back into its place. So of course, choose the option that best fits your website here. Next, we have the overlay option, which by default it is disabled, but if you switch it on, then a default color will be added as an overlay to the content. This will let you focus the attention of the visitors towards the sidebar section when it is expanded. So as you can see, if this option is enabled, then the content has been given an overlay color, which makes the sidebar really stand out. Of course, this color can be changed. All you have to do is click on this color box here, which will let you choose which will let you play around with our color picker and choose another color. And of course, you can also choose its opacity. Alright, so the next option is the quick toggle icon. When you enable this, an icon will be added to your sidebar, which is going to be this one right here. So this means that if the users want to expand or collapse the sidebar, they can simply click on this icon, which will let them do so. Now you can activate or deactivate this option. If you don't want this icon on your sidebar section, all you have to do is disable this option and it will disappear. However, in that case, you will have to create another trigger for the sidebar, and I'm gonna quickly go through that in a second. If you leave this option enabled, then you will be able to choose whether you want it placed on the top, on the center, or on the bottom of your sidebar section. Moreover, if you want to change the aspect of any element of this icon, all you have to do is click on it, which will open the icon options, and you will be able to bring any modifications you want to this element. Now, if you hover over this info icon here, you will see that you can create custom triggers for the sidebar section. We do have a separate article that goes through that, as there are a few ways in which you can create custom triggers, so please also check that article out if you need help with this part. But basically, it will show you how to create a button, for example, that will trigger the sidebar section of your Drive Theme Builder template. What you can do, and what we've explained in that article, is that you can add a button element, for example, then go to its animation and action section, remove the default action, click on pop-ups and choose open close sidebar here and click on apply. And then of course you can customize this button, and when you save everything, as you can see, this button will now serve the purpose of opening and closing the sidebar section. As I said, please check out that article if you need more information about creating custom sidebar triggers. Also, please keep in mind that you can add multiple triggers on the same template that will open or close the sidebar. So you can have a button, you can also have the quick toggle icon and all of that. Another really nice thing about this feature is that it will let you create different triggers for different views. So this means that, for example, if on desktop mode you want to have the quick toggle icon here, but you do not want it on mobile or tablet view, what you can do is simply access the two other views like so, and then disable the quick toggle icon option. So doing that will have the toggle icon disappear on these two views, but it will still remain on desktop mode. Lastly, we have the close icon section, which will add this close icon to the sidebar so that visitors will be able to simply click on it in order to close the sidebar. Again, this can be customized as well. All you have to do is click on the icon, which will open the icon options here, and then you can start customizing it as you wish. Again, if you do not want to have the close icon, you can simply disable this option. Please keep in mind that some of the options that I've presented in this tutorial will not be available in the mobile view of the sidebar section, as the screen size is more narrow, which will have the sidebar always be displayed over the content. So these were the options that you can find under the section options and sidebar display sections of the left sidebar with the options. Besides all of these, you can also use the decorations, typography, and all of these other sections with options. But for all of these ones, we do have separate tutorials and articles in our knowledge base. So please check them out if you need information on how you can use them. Hopefully this tutorial was useful to you, and please make sure to check out the entire Drive Theme Builder section from our knowledge base if you need more information about customizing your Drive Theme Builder theme.